ah, Hello, everyone. This is the Morning Gardener, and I figure I'd get in about a half an hour before I head out to work, and hopefully we have a conversation about things we love. That being number one, gardening, which is one of my favorite subjects. Uh, I have all my seeds doing well, and they're growing fast. So all in all, seed starting saves money. I did mention on uh, my other live stream, which was the very last one I did, and they are definitely doing well, and that is buying seeds. Walmart is now putting up displays in the store. I found the display I was looking for near the counter where you pay for your items, and they did that so you'll do some impulse grabbing of seeds. Um, the seeds I saw there was a couple of my favorites. Like I saw uh, some great tomatoes, like a brandy wine. I saw um, peaches and cream corn. Uh, there was a watermelon there called Charleston Gray. So yes, I shopped. They were 20 cents a pack. 20 cents a pack. A good amount was in them. Not nothing to brag about, but it was enough in there for 20 cents. Um, they also have in the aisle next to the regular price seeds, they had some 50-cent seeds. So you'll see those there as well. Um, so keep that in mind when you go to the store or stores. Make certain that you check out those seeds because they fair the price. And if you don't use them this year, you can use them next year or the year after that or the year after that. So that's what I'm doing now with my time. Is if I go through Walmart, which I'll be next time I'll be going back, won't be tomorrow, but the next day, I will be picking up some more of those seeds. Those seeds are valuable. You got to look at them in stock, um, especially the peaches and green corn. God, I love that corn. And I have some more at home. I think I'll start some more because you need to make certain that you have them. They had something called an 8-inch cucumber. Beautiful looking photo they had of it on the pack. And so I picked up 2 packs of those. They were 20 cents each. Um, so I'm happy. I'm happy. It was, I'm happy to have additional seeds because you always, you want them. You want the seeds to be there so that when next year come, uh, you know, you can start planting up before they actually ever bring them in the stores. You can start planting up. You know. Hello. How you doing? Right now, I'm dealing with the same situation. Um, Tomorrow, uh, hopefully, if the weather permits, I will be doing a very large soil mix. That's for everything this year. We're talking at least 300 pounds of soil mix, a little over 300 pounds actually. And I'll be doing that, and that's going to be and I'll cover it once I get everything in it that I need in it. Good evening. Good evening. Debbie Thomas. Debbie Thomas, gardening person. And there's nothing wrong with that. I see people trying to get into it now. Some people are a little embarrassed that, when I go to work, that they might actually one day have to try to grow some of their own food because of the cost and the low quality of food that you're buying from the stores. And also, the third reason, some of this food you don't have any idea where it's coming from. No idea. Coming from overseas. Some food, they showed some videos on YouTube that there was some foods being grown from trash. Um, and let's see, they went to a place to get it. What's it called? Oh God, I can never think of that where they dump items at. Oh, good evening, good evening. How you doing? I've been watching some of your videos and saw that you're busy planting. I think you had a buddy with you, and he was there helping. Well, you were explaining and giving information, which was very good, solid information. Putting it, and I saw the mounds you were planting in, all that rich organic matter that will be there to feed these plants optimum amounts of food. So that's a good thing. Um, Let me see. They get this trash from a landfill and they use it to fertilize their farms. And I was looking at this, and when they panned the camera over, they showed little rusted out 9-volt batteries. They showed all kind of what they call that stuff, styrofoam, plastic bottles, and they asked the woman, uh, pathway soil bank. Yes, you were planting into that. Um, and they were growing food from trash. Can't call the name of the video, but they mentioned that this food is also being shipped. That also they asked the person that was working there, owner of it. They asked her. They said, "Why is this food safe to eat?" The person asked her that, and she replied, "I have not gotten sick." That was her. That was her answer. Then they showed another farm that pumped sewage water out of the sewage system and sprayed that over the land, and that was fertilizer. Oh my God. And I looked at that, and it was this black muck coming out of this hose, um, and it was being sprayed. The woman was wearing no protection, nothing. She was just walking in the field barefooted and everything. I'm looking at it and said, "Oh my God." Um, and this process, then they went to another scene where they showed all this beautiful produce sitting up on a stand. It was beautiful lettuce, beautiful different vegetables, and I looked at that and they said, "This is grown from trash. It is okay through the government because the farmers have very little money to purchase fertilizers, so it is allowed." And I looked at that and said, "Oh my God." And when I see people uh, get away with that and feeding people from a landfill, the bulldozer picked up a whole bunch of soft, looked like soft trash, and looked like rotted trash actually, and it dropped it on top of an 18-wheeler truck, open big type of 18-wheeler truck, and loaded up. And then the 18-wheeler took it out to the farm, and then it was unloaded by some type of smaller truck, and it was, I mean, bulldozer, like a bulldozer. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because it's that kind of deal. I saw it and I looked at it, and it still stuck with me because I couldn't believe it. And but when they said it was being shipped, um, that really got my attention. Okay, okay, you saw it. Okay, I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Yeah, you're right. It's sad. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. I could not believe it. I was astonished when I saw it. And I look at how particular that I am about what goes in my soil, um, because I don't use anything in my soil that I feel will cause any kind of problems. Um, uh, many years ago, we're talking 15, 16 years ago, I tried something called Miracle Grow. I didn't know. I was just learning. And I saw things grow incredibly fast. And then I saw bugs eating them up. I mean, in astonished numbers, just eating them. And I wondered why. I said, I'm feeding them, I'm watering them, taking care, and found out that if the cycle in which this plant is meant to grow in a certain time frame, and you speed that up over 50, 60 times faster, you run into a problem. The plant is extremely tender. It might actually be stressed, but the bugs honed in on it, and they weren't eating anything but that plant. And I didn't know what was going on with it, and I did more research and discovered that if a plant is stressed, either from not getting proper water or proper food, or even the wrong foods, the plant sends out a distress signal which bugs home in on that plant, and their job is to clean it up. That, that's what um, that's what happens. So I started years later not using it and started using leaves, and found out that I grew things a little slower, but I had a better tasting plant. I had a plant that was more hardy, deeper, richer green. Um, and then again, it really also depends on where the tree is growing at, because the tree is only going to get what it can get from the soil that it's growing in. So if it's growing in bad soil, and when I say bad soil, the soil that soil that lacks nutrients, soil that's in areas where it's near heavy traffic. Um, it picks up a lot of chemicals from the cars. You know, so they're still part of the environment. So they're a product of that environment. Um, so that being said, uh, you know, you get what you put in. That's what comes out. So I started using leaves. I was doing better, and then I ran into a landscapers. I was asking to deliver leaves, and I had a gentleman that delivered leaves to me. They're full of vines one time, and I still have those vines growing years later. Um, Big, bold vines. It's just brutal, you know. And so I found a way to deal with those, which was because you can't pull them out of the ground. You know, they break off. They won't come out of the ground. So I pull them out of as much as it will come out of the ground. I put it over in an area. I allow it to dry out in the sun, which kills it, and then I lay it over my compost pile, or I lay it on the ground, which is my compost pile nowadays. Back in the day, I used to put it over on the side as in my compost pile. And now um, I pretty much just lay it down and let it dry out. Another thing is, um, another thing is, I'm making a compost pile now because my neighbor gave me about 100 and some odd pounds of wood that he cut from his trees, and he's an older person, so I want to get rid of it for him. So I put it in the area, stacks of it. I mean, it's a pretty good stack, about 3 feet high, and I've covered it with compost. And I know exactly what I'm doing. Compost will eat the wood up, and it will become compost. So I'm not in a hurry to use that compost. Never was. I cleaned up that area a bit by throwing the compost on top of the branches. And now tomorrow I have to go out and I got to get rid of some of that topsoil. You know that topsoil they sell at Lowe's and Home Depot. You buy a dollar bag. I want to get rid of that. It's a topsoil made from whatever they make it from, and I want to take that and put that over there on top of it, and then cover it up with some compost and let the compost. The compost has an ability to have all this life in it, and it will go through everything, the wood, the topsoil, and everything, and worms. And I try to tell people, and I see people buy worm food. I never heard of such a thing. Your worms in your soil, um, your worms in this soil will absolutely um, eat what's there, and they will excrete waste from your system. I see no reason with as many worms as I have on my property to actually go out and buy somebody's worm food. I have no reason to do that. I don't see why I should ever buy worm food because worms excrete their own waste, and that's what I do. What's the topic? I have no idea what this means here. What's the topic? We're talking about gardening, and we're talking about how to improve soil, which is the key to gardening, the very key. I do one thing here on my station. I do or broadcast or stream, however you want to call it. I do not believe in making anything complex. It is not a topic that we're on. If we're talking gardening, and people jump in and they might say, "I'm growing peaches. What do you think about using organic ways of spraying it?" And then we'll touch on that a bit. Another person might jump in and say, "I use weeds as mulch once I pull it up and lay it at the base of one of my trees or one of my plants. That's improving the soil. That's also growing more biology in the soil. Everything that you need on your property is already there, and I guarantee you. I guarantee you, if it's trees over above your property, they're producing limbs. You can cut those off, cut them into pieces, put them around trees, put them in different parts of your yard, bury them in the ground if you want to do that, and that's fertilizer. That's creating uh, 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 food for your soil. All right, there's nothing wrong with cardboard mulch. It's not as good, in my opinion, as actual wood from a tree because it's not been over processed. But cardboard has been put through man's process, and you take it back out there, the biology, as long as it's got it's still wood. The biology will eat it up eventually, and that's just the way it is. Hello, everyone. I guess that's it. Hello, everyone. Okay, that includes me too. Okay. One thing I will say is that uh, if you want better soil, whether you have clay soil, sandy soil, loamy soil, you want to add organic matter to it. That's it. That's it. Game over. That's how I look at it. And the old people basically put in the garden back in the day when they had the victory gardens and all. They put in the garden whatever they had on hand. That's what they did. If they fished, they put fish in the ground. If they ate oysters, they put oysters in the ground. The shells are full of calcium and that sort of thing. Some of them went this extreme and crushed them up and all that kind of stuff, depending on how much time they got on their hands. Good evening, morning garden. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Um, so that's what they did. They did not have big box stores to keep running to, giving people $13 and $16 for a bag of fertilizer. They just didn't have it because they were struggling, very much so. Uh, and they used what they had. The farm up the street might give one farmer some manure, and another might give somebody some hay to feed his cattle, and they just kind of barter it back and forth and make sure that everybody had what they needed. Yes, I agree. Yeah, and so what you do is you just simply do what you got to do. There was no rock dust and azomite and all that because all the minerals you need in that soil is coming from the rocks in that soil anyway. So I see people going by that stuff and they just don't know because these slick individuals online is telling you every reason in the world why you should buy this stuff. And in reality, your soil was designed in such a way to have a lot of that stuff in it. You basically add organic matter and you keep the soil loose as you possibly can. That means when you put a plant down, don't go walking over there on that area because you're compressing the homes of where your biology lives, and you're also mashing out the oxygen pores in the soil. So your roots don't get oxygen as they should. And one of the most important things that you have that we tend to neglect and forget is that you need to get oxygen in your soil. I use a pitchfork. I put it in the ground about 8 inches. I rock it back. I don't take the soil out and flip it over so I can expose brand new or old weed seeds that have been there. Some of them been there over 30 years. As soon as you expose them to the sun, they start growing. So the less holes you dig in the ground, the less weeds you have. Um, but use those weeds. Those weeds are valuable to use. They're valuable. You pull them out of the ground. You put them around plants, tomato plants. You put them around whatever plant that has a single stem. You can put it around, and that will collect moisture. That will feed biology to the soil in that location. It will bring a lot of biology into that area, and that will stimulate growth on your plant's part. That's right. It's not a mystery, but people keep selling that incorrect information. They keep sending it out there, and that's what they keep. Hello, hello, how you doing? Hello. Oh, hello, everyone. Somebody else said everyone. But the information they're feeding out there is just constantly misinformation, and they feed it out there so to keep you buying their products. Um, and so you don't have to keep doing that to yourself. Just think, what are the basics? What must I do to my soil to keep my plants healthy and happy in my soil? Ah, organic matter. What is organic matter? It's branches, leaves. It's all kinds of forms of plant life that grow around my property that I can use to create a very good soil. Simple as that. Yep. Let's see. I just love it, folks. I just love it. You get real smart when you keep doing this. I said, I'm having trouble finding it to plant. I had, I got grapevines, and blackberry cuttings growing out in the rain. Well, all you did was get some volunteers, and you did good. You can stick those. Let's see. You said I got grapevine cuttings and blackberry cuttings. Um, Here's what I did this year. I looked at my blackberries. Man, I kind of neglected them last year and the year before that. I neglected them. I did. So what I did was I took the blackberries. I found some that were growing 16 feet away from the plant. It went over and made a plant hole, and they created a plant. So I just simply walked over, took the shovel, popped it out. It had big, thick, big burly roots. I took it over to the area where I need them at and created one a foot apart and created another. Then I saw one that was growing where the both ends of it was in the ground, and I cut it in half and pulled it from the ground and put it in the area. Now I went from 3 plants all the way up to about 12 plants that quick. That's just the blackberry. Grapevines goes into the fall. As soon as they drop all their leaves, I take a container with compost and playground sand in it, mix it up, and I poke these about 6 inches deep. And I poke these cuttings from the grapevine down in there, and I leave them. Guess what happens next year? When it hit around May, they start leafing out. They got their roots on them and everything. I take them from there, I put them in a pot with soil in them, or I plant them directly in the ground. Free grapevines. Free grapevines. Or I take the grapevines and I say, Craigslist, anybody need Thompson grapes, a seedless white grape, put information on about what they do, and I ask for a donation. So, what did the vines cost me? $0. And the one grapevine could produce as many as 30 cuttings. Uh, 2 or 3 grapevines could produce a few hundred cuttings. So that's how that's done. And depending on how long, or is it 6 inches or 4 inches that you cut them down to, the cuttings will determine how many pieces you have. So I mean that's how it is, folks. Let's see, the vines attached to the ground and produce more sweet potatoes. That's what you do. I want to buy everything. I want to buy everything. Make certain. Mm-mm-mm-mm. No, I don't want to order them because I have plenty of those items. Thanks anyway. I have plenty of them. Oh, you talking to somebody else? Okay, okay. You can absolutely, you can absolutely get your garden to start rewarding you if you just take care of it. And remember, stop spending all that money on your garden. And so when the fall comes, you fertilize everything in the fall. Do it just like nature do it. Yes, I was talking to a lady. Okay, all right. That sounds like a winner. Um, what I'd like to do is make it certain that, absolutely certain that you get as much out of your garden without spending a whole bunch of money. Okay. Well, folks, we got 10 more minutes. And that being said, whatever topics or subjects you want to talk about, let's do that. And we'll also get because everything on my end is good. I got pepper plants growing. I got the eggplants growing. It's just you said you were starting new seeds last night. What did you start? Okay, what did I start? I started some jalapeno, and I started cayenne peppers, and I think that was it. I can't remember starting anything else. Yeah, I can't remember starting anything else. But everything looks good. I made up a beautiful seed starting mix this year. Beautiful. I would love if someone can tell me what kind of fruit potatoes that is. So I found. Oh my God. Absolutely, tree leaves. Absolutely. I get. I used to get about 900 pounds of them a year. It took a tractor to bring them in here in a tarp because two men could not move it. And I would take that and just leave it in one spot, 6 to 7 feet deep. When I would, I mean, I'll be 6 feet deep when I would empty it out, and I would just leave it there, and it would turn into tons and tons of worms would go in there. And time spring came, it would be down to 3 feet, and then I would have to move it into a compost pile in another location to free up that soil so I could grow what I wanted. I've had no luck trying to get mulberry tree cuttings uh, to grow. Mulberry tree cuttings. Well, if you're talking about hardwood, hardwood is quite challenging to get started. You might want to try air layering. Is a way of getting it to root because the whole thing is once you get it to root, then you're all set. And there's a ton of videos on air layering that you can find everywhere on YouTube. Air layering is just an easier process. All right, well, good people, this has been the Morning Garden. I appreciate your time and also your conversation. Make absolutely certain that the sweet potato, which will get okay. And good people, the Morning Gardener. We've done it again. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I will try the air layer. Yeah, the air layer to do it. Just plastic and aluminum foil. You'll see a lot of them on there, but look at a number of videos of people who seem like they know what they're talking about, and you follow it step by step, and you should be in good shape. Do at least a few like if I was doing it to get three, I would do five and so on because sometimes you may lose one or two, but once you get them rooted up, you're all set. You're all set. I use peat moss when I do mine, sphagnum peat moss, and and that way I can get a cutting and take that thing and do what I got to do. Yeah, hardwood cuttings in some varieties are very challenging. Thanks, Debbie. Good night. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Thank you very much. And that being said, this has been the Morning Garden. Thank you very much. And remember, keep growing.